Hello everyone, and welcome to Chaga and a Chat with Dan and Kasha.
Thank you, Kasha. It's so great to be here with everybody today. We have a wonderful show planned for you. What we're going to focus on today is tapping and releasing. We want to make sure that everybody has this so that they feel comfortable with it and actually give everybody some relief today.
Absolutely, because we're noticing as we look out into the world with all of our friends and the people we love, we're seeing that many of you are feeling anxious and maybe a little bit stuck in your own spaces. I think we're all starting to feel like the span of time, the span of time that, and we're all feeling this bursting energy of spring all around us. So there's this inner desire to actually move and to do something. So it's a fun and interesting time for all of us. And one of the things we've been noticing is that our friends are turning to us and everyone's wanting to find relief.
Yes.
And so we've been doing a lot of tapping.
Oh, most definitely, Kasha. We find that people are standing in such a point right now with a lot of uncertainty, it seems. And so it's creating some anxiety within them. And yes, most definitely. We have been tapping a lot. And because we're here for everybody and we feel you, so we want to make sure that we're helping everybody out. So this is what the idea is behind today's Tap and Release.
So as you notice, we're doing a little different format. We're pre-recording the show. There has been a lot of people on the internet, so the bandwidth has been pretty bad lately, and we want to make sure that you get the best quality from us. So what we did was we invited you to send us your tapping and releases prior to the show, which many of you did. So we actually have a list of releases right now that we're very excited to go through with you guys and actually move some energy.
Yes. Now, Kasha, would you say anxiety is just a little bit of what people are going through right now?
Yeah, I'd say anxiety is pretty high on that.
I would
list.
also.
Yeah,
so,
and even different layers. Different layers of anxiety. We have all kinds of anxiety is presenting itself in all kinds of different ways.
Yes, and we're seeing kind of the culmination of it. People don't know what to think. They don't know how to feel through this. They don't know what to believe. There's so many different challenges in here, and they're wondering how all this is going to work out. The wonderful thing about this is we have to look at this recent event that's happening, and we have to look at it this way. We're safe in our homes. Good point.
Yes.
We are together.
Yes.
Good point.
Really
we
good
are
point.
Reaching out and contacting each other to make sure that everybody has what they need.
Yeah.
I find that we have more compassion right now. Another great thing.
Yes. People are picking up the phone. We're starting to get people actually calling, which is fun. We even had a friend say the other day, it's been a while since I picked up the phone, and I started calling people, and I realized, it feels so nice to actually hear
connect that way
somebody's voice and to connect.
Yes.
Yeah, so on all fronts. And people are cleaning their homes. Everybody's homes look beautiful. As we're sharing videos and feed with each other, we're realizing that everything is getting brighter. There is so much, and we are kind of, in our world, we are silver lining kind of people.
Definitely.
So we tend to focus on the positive aspects because we find that when we focus on the positive things, we tend to see more and more positive things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're focusing on fear, well, then you're going to see more of that too. So let's use today's tappings to move away from fear and move away from all those things that have got us upset right now. Everybody's going to be okay. This is a global thing, so nobody really knows for certain what is going to happen, but we do know this, and I'm sure everybody can feel this. Good things are happening.
Yeah.
Good things are happening.
Yeah.
So come out the other side of this. We're going to see wonderful things that have happened in our world. I believe that we're going to see more unity and compassion. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that we're going to see a lot more love in our world. I believe that things are just going to keep getting better and better every day as we come through this.
And we're excited, and we're anticipating that beautiful moment when we all get to emerge out of our hibernation or collective hibernation.
We get to congregate again
and fully feel the energy in the spring and the beauty around us, because as we patiently wait in our spaces, the earth is beginning to open up and clear, and the air is so fresh. And
everything's clean.
And if you take a step outside your door, you're going to feel quite a peacefulness that is something that I know in my lifetime I have yet to feel. I've yet to feel until now. So it's been quite an interesting dynamic. But at the same time, there is also that underlying wave of fear, as so many people are really genuinely afraid and concerned and worried. And most of these very well-meaning people still have the impression that worrying equals loving somebody. So they believe that if I spend time worrying, it means I love you. And if I'm not worried about you, if I'm not acting like I'm scared, if I'm not, being tense, that means that I don't care, that I don't love you as much. So we would like to invite people to sort of see it in a new way, and to approach it in this way. When you worry about somebody, you're sending them a message energetically that they are not able to take care of themselves. When they pick up on that message, they might not get a direct signal of, oh, I'm terrible, but they'll suddenly feel like, oh, I'm not as confident as I was a moment ago.
Something doesn't feel right. It's kind of an off feeling. You can't explain it. It's just all of a sudden you feel
not quite as confident.
Or all of a sudden, you just have this bad memory thought run through your mind. You don't know why.
Just something in you that just kind of says, and that however good you were feeling a moment ago diminishes.
Yes.
And it's, I think once we understand how we really impact each other, that when we talk about somebody in a positive way, we're sending them positive energy.
Yes.
When we are worried about them, even if it's in the most well-meaning way, we're actually sending them the message, the information that they're not able to take care of themselves.
The worry feeling, the doubt feeling, the fear feeling.
Absolutely.
The anxiety feeling.
Yeah.
How do you like my segue?
Very good. So why don't we start? And let's release anxiety, everyone.
There we go.
Okay?
Right. So we're going to start by just tapping on the side of the hand here. And we're just going to say, even though I have all this anxiety, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Very good. Even though I have all this anxiety, I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I have all this anxiety, I'm feeling really anxious. Because I don't know what's going on. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I now release myself. From all this stress and anxiety.
On the top of the head. I now release myself. From all these stressful, painful thoughts.
On the back of the head. I now release myself.
From all this stressful, anxious programming. Over the ears. I now release myself. From all those stressful, anxious things I've heard.
Underneath the eyes. I now release myself. From all those stressful, anxious things I see.
Under the nose. I now release myself. From all those anxious, stressful things I've heard said to me. I now release myself.
From all those stressful, anxious words I say to others.
On the collarbones. I now release myself. From all this anxiety and stress.
I now release myself.
From all these stressful
emotions and feelings. All these sensations and tensions in my body. I allow myself to flow. I know I'm going to be okay. I know we're all safe. I know we're all good. I am good. And I am going to be okay. There you go. Nice deep breath. It always makes me feel calmer. Every time I tap. I hope you feel the same way too. I hope you feel in that moment, you could feel your body release some of that tension. That is the purpose behind tapping and releasing. That is why we find this tool so valuable and such a a great companion for us, because it's always, as Cash is always saying, right at the end of your fingertips. So you can use this and do this anywhere. Once you learn and you start to practice, and we just say, keep practicing.
And keep going.
Just keep tapping. Just keep practicing.
Just keep tapping, just keep tapping, just keep tapping.
Which is, or the other thing we say is tap like a mofo.
Tap like a mofo.
If you've got some challenges in your life, tap like a mofo. Because until you clear yourself from any negativity, when you clear yourself from these anxious feelings inside, from all this stress that you're carrying inside, as you clear that and you release that in yourself, your body is going to find its natural state. Its natural state is a healing state. Its natural state is calm. Its natural state is happy.
And clear.
And clear.
And clear.
Exactly.
Because clarity is also included amongst all those other wonderful things you're feeling. Because clarity is what leads you to what that inner sense of, I'm safe, I know what's best for me, I trust myself. Those feelings are built from the foundation of you feeling like, yes, I'm clear. So as you tap and release, the front part of your brain relaxes. It allows blood flow back in there. You suddenly can see clearly. You suddenly can think more clearly. Suddenly the answers that were unreachable are right there in front of you.
That's always the case too, isn't it? Because we find that when we're under tension, whenever the body is under tension, when the mind is under tension of anxiety, this frontal cortex of the brain, this prefrontal cortex, actually becomes physically compressed. And in there you start to lose your own ability to rationalize, like just to make sense of anything. So
especially your own self, especially the things about yourself.
Yeah, so people end up overreacting in a case where it's when we say, 5 years from now, is this really going to make any difference?
That's
and
right.
They're overreacting this
That's
moment
right.
because they've lost that ability to rationalize and remember. Yes.
Or vice versa, they're underreacting and they're hiding because they feel overwhelmed by the emotions of other people. So it depends, where do you land in your place of balance, and we suggest as you tap to land square in the middle. Right there in that most balancing point.
Yes.
So our next release comes from our friend Erica Litelian, and she says, I would love to release my need to be accepted, releasing our less thanness. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that one, Erica. There's so many people, I'm sure, that feel the exact same way.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to begin?
Okay.
Thank
you. Even though
I have this need to be accepted.
I have this need to be accepted.
I deeply and completely
love
and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
Even though I have this need to be accepted.
Even though I have this need to be accepted.
I deeply and completely
love
and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
Even though I have this need to be accepted.
Even though I have this need to be accepted.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
I release myself.
I release myself.
From this need to be accepted by others.
From this need to be accepted by others. On top of the head, I release myself.
I release myself.
From all my thoughts. Of needing to be accepted.
From needing to be accepted. On the back of the head, I release myself.
I release myself.
From all these programs. That made me feel less than. That created a need for me to be accepted.
Over the years. I now release myself.
From
all those things I heard.
That
made me need to be accepted.
That made me feel less than. I release myself. From all those things I've seen. That made me feel less than. That made me feel like I needed to be accepted.
I release myself. From all those things that were said to me.
That
made me feel less than. And made me need to be accepted.
I release myself. From all the things I say. That create neediness. That make me feel less than.
I now release myself. From all these less than feelings. From this feeling of being needy. To be accepted.
I now release myself
I now release myself
from all these feelings and sensations,
from all these feelings and sensations,
these habits of need
these habits of need
to be accepted,
these
habits of feeling less than.
habits of feeling less than.
I am a good person.
I am a good person.
I am more than.
I'm more than. I'm good.
I am good.
I'm kind.
I am kind.
I'm compassionate.
I am compassionate.
And I'm so more
I am so much more
than any program I've ever
than
heard.
any program. And I am accepted.
And I am accepted.
I
accept myself.
Deeply and completely love and accept myself. There you go.
Deep breath, everyone.
That was a good one.
Oh, that one went out on many levels.
Absolutely.
That one you could feel. Sometimes you might find that as you're tapping and releasing, as you're going through, your mind gets a little swimmy and wobbly. And so this is where the repetition becomes very, very handy, because you know that the next line is waiting there for you, the next one's waiting there for you, and the words are simple. Just keep repeating the words, and until you get this feeling inside you, like something actually is shifting. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, okay, so let's jump right into the next one. So our next tapping and release comes from our friend Ash
Simard.
Thank you, darling. And Ash says, I would love to release the resentment that likes to keep creeping back in. Ooh, that's a really interesting one.
Resentment would be something thinking that you made some mistake in the past, that there was something you did wrong.
Yeah, or something that was done wrong to you. So there's a general sense right here that this is feeling like something wrong is happening, something that we should be upset about.
And we will agree with you that you have had things happen to you, but right now, nothing is happening to you right now. This is you in this moment. You pick each moment what you choose to focus on. And resentment of things in the past keeps you locked into a past, keeps you locked into a vibration, a pattern of where you no longer want to be sitting there.
Yes.
Because it's not a platform to create from. The past is not a platform to create from.
Most definitely. And as you're feeling the resentment in your body, even it's a small amount, let's just say you're resentful for 10 minutes of the day, that is 10 minutes where your body's being intoxicated, literally poisoned by the resentment, and only you suffer because of that. That resentment does not go out and create anything beautiful in your life, externally or internally, because resentment on the outside to others doesn't feel good either. And on the inside, it is a poison that becomes toxic to everybody, especially you. So more than anything, we encourage you to release any and all resentment. Resentment that things aren't working out for you, resentment that things should be different than they currently are. And we invite you to step into a new way of seeing things. Sort of like we said at the beginning of the show, we said to you, in our world, we tend to look at the silver lining.
Yes.
And so we're inviting you to take a step into that and to begin to see the silver lining, to begin to set your environment, external, your home, your space, and internal, your heart and your mind, into a frame where you begin to see the beautiful things around you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's begin. Even though I seem to have a lot of resentments, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I seem to have a lot of resentment, towards others, towards myself, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I hold all this resentment inside, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I release myself from all this resentment I'm feeling.
I now release myself
from
these resentful thoughts.
I now release myself from these resentful programs and habits. Over the years, I now release myself from all those resentful things I've heard. All those things I've heard that made me feel resentful. I release myself
I release myself
from all those things I've seen
from all those things I've seen
that made me resent others
that made me resent others
and resent myself.
and resent myself. I now release myself
I now release myself
from all those resentful things
from all those resentful things
I've heard said to me
I've heard said to me
that made me feel the world is a bad
that
place.
made me feel the world is a bad place. I release myself
I now release myself
from all those resentful words I've said to others,
from all those resentful words I have said to others,
from all those resentful things I've said to myself.
from all those resentful things I've said to myself. I now release myself
I now release myself
from all this resentment.
from all this resentment. I am present.
I am present.
I live in the now.
I live in the now.
Because this is where my power is.
Because this is where my power
This
is.
is me empowering myself
This is me empowering myself
over my past
over my past
and creating a beautiful future.
and creating a beautiful future. And I am so much more
I
than
am
hatred.
so much more than
I
hatred.
am so much more than resentment.
I am so much more than resentment.
I am love.
I am love.
I'm compassion.
I am compassion.
I am such a good person.
I am such a good person.
And I know this because I love the way it feels to be good.
I know this because I love the way it feels to be good.
Beautiful. Take a breath, everyone. And just slow the rhythm of your heart. Let your body become supple and soft.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Wonderful job.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next release because, guys, today is all about relief.
Mm-hmm.
Today we came on the show here because we want to provide as much opportunity for us to all feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So our next release is coming from
Lagia Bastos.
And Lagia asks us to release collective grieving so that everyone, you included, can feel a little better. Oh, thank you, Lagia. It's beautiful.
Okay. Even though I have all this grief inside me
I have all this grief inside me
for all those who got lost
for all those who got lost
and for losing myself,
and for losing myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I'm holding all this grief
Even though I'm holding all this grief
for things lost
for things lost
and losing myself,
and losing myself.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept myself.
love and accept myself.
Even though I'm holding all this grief
Even though I'm holding all this grief
for things lost
for things lost
and for losing myself,
and for losing myself.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept myself.
love and accept myself.
I release myself
I release myself
from grieving all the things I lost,
from grieving all the things I've lost,
especially myself.
especially myself. I now release myself
I now release myself
from all these grieving thoughts,
from all these grieving thoughts,
from all these thoughts that hurt me.
from all these thoughts that hurt me. I now release myself
I now release myself
from this habit of grieving
from this habit of grieving
over things lost,
over things lost,
like myself.
like myself. I now release myself
I now release myself
from all those things I've heard
from all those things I've heard
that create grieving inside me,
that create grieving inside
and
of
this
me
heavy sadness.
and this heavy sadness. I now release myself
I now release myself
from all those things I've seen
from all those things I've seen
that have made me sad
that have made me sad
and made me grieve
and made me grieve
and made me feel bad about myself.
and made me feel bad about myself. I now release myself
I now release myself
from all those words said to me,
from all those words said to
from
me,
all those stories I heard
from all those stories I heard
that created this grieving inside me,
that created this grieving inside of me,
that created this collective sadness
That created-
inside me.
this collective sadness inside of me. I release myself
I release myself
from all those sad words I repeat,
from all those sad words I repeat,
all those old stories I tell.
from all those old stories I tell.
Soon is going to be a time for new stories,
Soon it's going to be time for some new stories,
and I will tell those
and I will tell those
with vigor
with vigor
and life.
and life.
But in the meantime,
I release myself
I release myself
from this deep sadness within me.
from this deep sadness within me.
This sadness inside my body.
This sadness inside my body.
This grief inside my heart.
This grief inside my heart. I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
We're all going to be
We're
all
all going to be okay.
It is safe now.
It is safe for me to feel.
I can find my joy again.
We can find our joy again.
We can all find our joy again.
We can all find our joy again.
Just as the spring blooms,
Just that the spring blooms,
we shall bloom also.
we shall bloom also.
We shall rebirth with earth.
We shall rebirth with the earth.
And that makes me feel good.
And that makes me feel good.
Because I am good.
Because I am good.
We're all good.
We're all good. And breathe.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. Oh, that was a
Mm-hmm.
good one, friends. We could feel that one right to the very heart of things.
Definitely.
Okay.
Our next
So-
one's from Anonymous.
Our next post, our next request comes from an anonymous friend. They would like to release themselves from the feeling of powerlessness. And this was a really important one. This feeling right now that we are not powerful. But let me just say one thing to this. This was something that was built in us over time, because we are in a structure right now where some people present themselves as the okay, let's just put it this way. Nobody has to protect you. You are infinite. You are incredibly intelligent. You have access to resources literally at your fingertips. And you are very quickly right now advancing as you are evolving. Okay, because a lot of what you're feeling right now and a lot of what you're seeing in your world around you, although we of course acknowledge that most of it is coming from the internet, but a lot of what you're seeing is a result, an end product of the massive collective evolution and switch from one mode of thinking to another. We are simply becoming more advanced in who we are as a collective, and this is why that last release was so powerful, because it was a collective release, because we are collectively, which means not just one person's waking up, not just one person, everybody's waking up, which means every single one of you is powerful, has the ability to manage your energy, which means you have the ability to manage your experiences and your environment and honestly your whole world.
Well, and you have the ability to empower yourself. You're not powerless in all this. You see, we're sitting safe in our homes. We've been slid into our homes for safety. And you have the ability to empower yourself.
That's
now
right.
is the time to empower yourself with
my
knowledge.
gosh, yes.
We have knowledge at our fingertips all the time, as Kasia said. You can empower yourself by reading something positive. You can empower yourself by
tapping.
by tapping
And releasing.
You can empower yourself by feeling better about who you are.
Yes.
You can empower yourself by feeling all these wonderful things. This is a time
Yes.
not to feel powerless, but to empower yourself.
Yes. Just one moment, darling, because I'd like to say to our friends on that same note, I want you guys to know that we have released Driver's Seat in digital format, so that every single one of you can load it up onto your phone.
Yes.
Okay, we've sent out a link. We'll keep putting the link out there, because we do hear that there might be some disruption in the internet, and we want you guys to feel that if this does go a little dark, we're right there. The positive words are right there. The positive information, all the things you need to uplift you are right there at your fingertips.
Yes.
The tapping is there. Okay, that's always for you. The book is here as well. The tools you need, and whatever tools work for you guys, this is the time to use them.
Definitely. And we're making Driver's Seat free to download, as Kasia said. We will have the link up on our webpage. It's already on our Facebook pages for Kasia
and we
myself.
continue to share it, so
we
it's
continue
there for
to share
you.
it. Please understand the internet's very busy right now, so currently we have it at one place called Go Files. We're looking into placing this in other places because just the sheer demand for the book has just been phenomenal. People have been downloading it like crazy right now, and this is great because this is going to be your guidebook to get you through these coming times and everything that's going on right now. So this is wonderful. But in the meantime,
Yes.
let's do this release for feeling powerless.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ready, guys?
Okay. Even though I'm feeling powerless in this powerful world, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling powerless
Even though I'm feeling powerless
in this powerful world,
in this powerful world,
in these powerful times, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling powerless here in my home, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I release myself from all these thoughts and feelings of being powerless.
I now release myself from these insistent feelings and thoughts that I'm somehow powerless.
I release myself
from
all these programs and habits and things said to me that made me feel powerless.
I now release myself from all the things I've heard,
from all the different sources
that made me feel powerless.
I release myself from all those that have made me see nothing but my own powerlessness.
I now release myself from all those things that I've heard said that slowly wore away my own power.
I release myself from saying those powerless words about myself.
I now release myself. And I release my body.
And I release my body.
And I release my heart.
And I release my heart.
From all this story about powerlessness. It just isn't true.
Go ahead.
I
am
powerful.
I create my own reality. I decide. I can choose. And I choose to be good.
And I choose to be good.
And I choose to be loving.
Because I am powerful. And I'm getting there.
And
I'm getting there.
And
little by little.
I'm empowering myself.
I am empowering myself little by little. And that feels like powerful things. Take a breath, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
one last one, and this one actually we feel is probably one of the most important ones right now because it is creating the biggest effect in people.
Yes, we're watching people that are really lashing out right now and being
loving people,
good loving people, because we're all good and loving, but we're watching people lashing out and being angry with each other and saying all these awful things to each other. And we understand that at the root of it is something a lot deeper than the anger.
Exactly. So we know that these people are not bad. These people don't actually mean to hurt you. And generally speaking, these people don't actually even want to act the way they're acting. But they are so much in fear and they are so much into their patterns that right now, and most likely they are looking at only one source of story, and most likely it's the one that's the most scary, okay? So under those circumstances, what we're seeing is very good people not make the best choices for themselves and become sharp and difficult and painful even to the very people they love.
Remember, in these states of fear, if you're going to fill your mind with fear by watching a lot of fearful things, what it's doing is, we already said, it's going to compress that frontal cortex. It is going to make you lose your ability to rationalize. Look, this is science, ladies and gentlemen. This is science. It's going to make you lose your ability to rationalize. And it is going to actually create fear within you. It's almost like it becomes a self-perpetuating, self-feeding, reactive state you become. Reactive state.
So it literally puts you into a state of fight, flight, or freeze. And your body,
Absolutely.
although you might be handling it,
Okay.
your body, your heart, your lungs, your whole entire system is compromised.
Definitely.
And the same way we said earlier in the show, we said about anger creating toxicity. All these emotions that are uncomfortable, they create toxicity at different levels. So it really depends. Do you want to suck on those little blue Tide pucks slowly, or do you want to eat the whole thing all at once? Because when you're in anger, frustration, or any kind of resentment, any kind one of those worry, honestly, guys, you are just holding the poison packet, and you're just little by little taking a little sip of it. Okay, and then you're wondering why the next day you're not feeling so well, why you've got those headaches, why you have the aches and pains in your body. So please understand that you can use your body at this point to monitor where your thoughts are at. And if you're feeling a lot of active pain, we suggest to you, tap, 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 keep tapping. Because it doesn't matter where you start with the tapping, it doesn't really matter how the words are presented, as long as you've got that rhythm of I release myself, and then just make sure you can feel what you're releasing yourself from, and let yourself feel the relief. It's the relief we're after, guys. It's that feeling of decompression as your inner state goes from tension, that fight, flight, or freeze mode, and it goes down back to a more harmonious state of inner peace, which means your heart rate goes back to a more regular beat. Your lungs can now open up so you can breathe deeply. Your brain opens up so you again feel clear and confident, and you can tap into your inner wisdom.
And you can rationalize it.
And you can
That's where all your
rationalize
clarity
it.
is.
Exactly.
Your clarity is never in anger. It's never in anger.
It never has been.
So it's when you're in a reactive state and you're feeling angry about something. Please understand, you're bouncing off of fear. You're just afraid. It's okay.
That's right.
It's
That's
all right. You've been really well programmed with fear. Everything in our media talks about fear. So there we are. So let's do this, and we'll.
Okay.
Yeah. So even though I'm feeling really angry.
I'm feeling really angry.
Because I'm really, really afraid.
Because I'm really, really afraid.
I deeply and completely.
Love
and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
Even though I'm feeling afraid.
And
angry. I deeply and completely. Love and accept myself. Even though I'm getting really angry. But really I'm feeling really afraid.
I'm feeling really afraid.
I deeply and completely. Love and accept myself. I release myself. From feeling really afraid and angry.
I now release myself. From all these thoughts. That keep racing through my mind. That make me feel so afraid and angry.
I release myself.
From
all that fear-based programming. That has made me feel helpless. And afraid. And angry.
I now release myself. From all the things I've heard. Said about me. Said about the world. That make me so angry. But really make me afraid.
I release myself. From all those things I've seen. That make me afraid. And angry.
I now release myself. From all those stories. Across all times. That make me feel so afraid. And make me feel so angry.
I release myself.
I now release myself.
From all my angry, fearful words.
I now release myself. From all these feelings of anger. I release my body. I release my heart. From all this anger inside me. Born of fear.
I now release myself.
From
all these fearful sensations. I choose love.
I choose to know my goodness.
I'm going to be okay.
We're all going to be okay.
Awesome.
Take a deep breath.
This has been such a pleasure being with you and teaching you this technique. It has been empowering for us, and we hope empowering for you. And we say, just keep tapping, just keep releasing. Insert your words anywhere in. We've given you enough examples here today.
Absolutely. Go through the video more than once. Tap more than once on these things. Get the feeling of it as you tap and release with us to create the pattern in you, so that when you're standing in your kitchen and suddenly you're at the sink and you're washing the dishes and you feel just a sudden feeling of ugh come upon you, start tapping and releasing. I release myself from that feeling of I release myself. Stop what you're doing in that moment. Let the water still run, why not? Or stop the water. But in that moment, catch yourself, release yourself, and set yourself free.
Definitely.
Because right now, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the air is fresh.
These are times to be hopeful.
We're
these
together.
Are times to be, yes, these are times to be hopeful, to be brave, to be courageous, to be
have
wonderful.
Fun. Have fun.
Reach
Learn
out,
something
talk to people.
new. Oh yes, reach out to people. Call people often. Call your grandkids. Call your kids. Have some fun. There's no rush in anything.
Definitely.
We have all the time in the world, you see. For the first time ever, we don't have to rush. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do. All you have to do now is, what do you want to do? What do you want to feel? And we say, reach for things that are peaceful, things that feel good.
Exactly.
Reach for the things that make you feel like life is beautiful.
We've spent a long time feeling bad about ourselves. We've spent a long time being afraid. Now is the time to practice a new feeling. Create new habits of thought within yourself. Create new habits of feeling within yourself. Feel good about who you are. You and everybody else in humanity are good.
Yes.
We all have the potential within us. We just forget.
That's right.
Because we become afraid.
Yeah, and if you feel anything that goes in opposition to what Dan just said about you, tap and release it. Reach for your tools.
Yeah.
Reach for your tools. This is
Absolutely.
the time to reach for your tools.
Absolutely. So,
we love you.
yes,
Have
most
a
definitely.
beautiful day. Have a beautiful week. We will be back again next week. While you are watching this, we're going to be hosting this video in how we're doing the darling. You need to share with our friends so they know.
Well, they'll be on.
We'll be on, but we'll be doing a live party, live view party. So we'll be there too. Okay, guys. So we can still talk. We're still there. And
Okay.
bye, guys.
Bye,
we
everyone.
love you.
We love you.